TV 1061, conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.
Hello everyone. First of all, I want to say Happy New Year. We're 12 days into this new year. And I just want to say I hope everyone is staying safe. You and your family members are all doing well. So I want to welcome you to this show. The name of this show is Your Real Estate Tea. Now, we are going to teach you so you can become educated to achieve. This show is going to be about all things real estate related. I am Andrea Farley. I'm a real estate broker with Maximum One Realtor Partners here in Atlanta, Georgia. So, again, we're sharing information with you about real estate, whether you have considered purchasing a home, whether you're considering selling a home, whether you're an investor, or, hey, if you know someone who is one of those, who may fit one of those criteria. So, if you've thought about purchasing a home or selling a home and you're wondering how should you prepare, you will want to tune into this show. And we will be airing on every Tuesday at 12:30. So today's show will be dedicated to the buyers. Buyers, we want to give you a boost to become more knowledgeable, inspire, or even encourage if you want to take action towards your real estate goals. I have a guest today who will be speaking to us to let us know what those first steps will be. She is a wealth of knowledge. She has a lot of experience with mortgages, so you will want to stay tuned for that segment. Well, guys, now it is tea time. Again, T is teach, educate, achieve. I find that I come across a lot of people who are not aware of what the first steps may be. And the first step in the process to purchasing a home is to get pre-qualified or pre-approved. This information will let you know where to start. You don't want to start your process in looking for a home and not knowing what criteria you need to pay attention to. You know, we can say that, you know, people may look for homes way above what they can actually be approved for. And you don't want to disappoint yourself and have any type of unrealistic expectations. So, now we also want to advise you guys that the starting home prices are much, much different than they have been in the past. I would say the starting price point of a home, a starter home, where it used to be maybe like in the 150s or 170s, now today in 2021, that is around 210, 220,000 is your typical average starter home price point. Now in this market, you know, we like to get a deal with whatever we're doing. You know, we don't really like to pay full price for anything. However, in this business, in real estate, in approaching your goals to get into your home, to become a homeowner, this is not the time to make lowball offers, make offers to where, you know, you are really just trying to bid below like 5 and 10,000 under. That will not work in this market, you guys. If we all know, Interest rates have been at record lows. They have probably been reduced about 16 or 17 times in the past year, in 2020. And so the market is flooded with buyers, which is a great thing. It's great. You know, I would never ever say don't go after your goal and don't go after your dream. However, that makes it a seller's market, guys. Seller's market does not mean the time to lowball and try to get the lowest offer or the lowest selling price of your home. You will quickly see that after about maybe 5 or so attempts that that particular angle or process is not going to work. So, in actuality, people have been bidding 10 to 20,000 over. However, I wouldn't jump to that, you know, because that does come with its own set of circumstances. But your agent can discuss more of that information. We won't deep dive into that. And so, with that being said, there is a lot less competition in new construction. New construction has probably increased, I would say, about 40% over the past year, where they are seeing a very high demand for new homes. And guys, everywhere you look, it seems like they're building on some piece of dirt somewhere in this state of Georgia, which is a good thing, you know, because people's needs are changing, families are increasing, people may want to downsize or need certain things, certain maybe one-level homes. So that makes it a good thing for you guys. So with that being said, again, the first step is to get pre-approved. And now I just want to introduce Pauline Harris. She is a branch manager with Movement Mortgage. And Pauline is going to tell us a little bit more about what she does and give us some tips on what home buyers may need to know or will need to know. Pauline is an awesome manager. She specializes in tough deals. You know, I asked her, do you have a niche? What do you specialize in? And she says tough deals. And I can attest to you that if something may look impossible, Pauline can get it done for you. And so I just want to welcome Pauline to this show today. And she's going to tell us a lot about what she knows. So again, you can become knowledgeable and achieve your goals. And so Pauline, I want to welcome you to the show. How are you today?
Yeah. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking time and breaking away. I understand that you have big things going on. We won't talk about that today if you don't want to, but I know that you are getting some training done for your new position and your new role, and congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
So my first question is, Pauline, what are the differences between lenders?
That's a very good question. Well, it's first important to know that there are, the major agencies, VA, conventional, FHA, USDA. You can throw jumbo in there, and then, of course, our non-QM programs, which are usually like broker programs. Most lenders offer those main agency products. However, each lender has its own criteria that sometimes they may apply to those agency guidelines, and we call that overlays.
Okay.
So, for example, if you ever have a borrower that goes through, one lender and they require rental history and that person doesn't have rental history, another lender may not require rental history because that's not an agency requirement. That lender has its own overlay where, they may require rental history for that particular, borrower with that particular profile. So the lenders differ by, that's one of the main differences is lenders have their own guidelines sometimes. So you always want to ask when you're, speaking with your lenders, do you all have any overlays?
Okay.
Because that'll answer that, you can kind of compare lenders based off that.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. So as you guys have heard, every lender is not created equal, different criteria. is needed. You know, one lender may require something that another one doesn't. Of course, they all have their same, you know, basis or foundational things that is necessary. However, there are differences. And so you mentioned, you know, different loan products. Of course, we have VA, USDA, conventional, FHA. What is the difference between FHA and conventional?
Sure. FHA is your government program. That one has really been around the longest. That program is geared more toward first-time home buyers, mainly because they're a little more lenient with their credit requirements.
Okay.
And they usually, and FHA only requires 3.5% down for the most part. So FHA is usually the best loan for first-time home buyers, especially if they maybe have some challenges in the past credit. You'll see more first-time home buyers utilizing FHA. Conventional is a program that usually requires 3% or 5% down. So again, that's a conventional product, so the guidelines are a little more strict. So that may not work for someone that may have, you know, some challenges. Maybe they have some medical collections or things, recent late things on their credit. Conventional programs are a little less forgiving for those types of situations. So the biggest difference is the down payment, FHA being 3.5%, conventional being 3 to 5. And the seller concessions are really important to know because for FHA, you're allowed to get 6% of the sales price toward closing costs from your seller. And for conventional, it's limited to 3%. So that's extremely important for your buyers who may not have a lot of money saved up for the process. Conventional may not be the best route if you're looking for heavy closing costs from the seller. FHA may be a better fit in that circumstance.
Okay, thank you so much, Pauline. That is great information. And so, as Pauline said, FHA is a more forgiving product than conventional. A lot of people think that sometimes they even have to put 20% down. While you can do that, that is not required in order to purchase a home. And so thank you for clarifying the needs for those two particular loan products. And so, Pauline, with the rates being so low, you know, we don't know when they change. You know, we do know that they change. What does it mean to lock in a rate?
Sure. Locking in your interest rate is basically saying, okay, I like the terms that you have, or these are acceptable terms for me. Your interest rate, locking it in, just means letting the lender know that, hey, I'm ready to move forward. That rate works. Let's lock the rate. And so that means that literally it is just like it sounds. You have locked in that interest rate for a period of 30 days usually. And lenders offer different terms. Some people lock for 45 days. Some lenders have locks as long as 365 days, believe it or not.
Okay.
So it's important to lock in the rate at the time of application because obviously if rates change and go up, of course, you know, that wouldn't be good because you got qualified with one rate and had your heart set on one payment, and now, you know, things are going to change. So it's important to go ahead. I recommend locking in at the time of application. Don't play with the market. It's very volatile. If it makes sense and the mortgage works, I highly recommend going ahead and locking in your rate at the time that you apply with a lender.
Okay. Okay, great. Yes, I also know that the rate lock is very important to be helpful if you're looking at in a certain price point, and if that rate were to change, you know, that could make the difference between someone being able to qualify for that house or not. Is that right, Pauline?
Absolutely. So, for example, if you have someone if you're a home buyer and your lender is already telling you, hey, your debt to income ratio is pretty high, and basically what that means is you're right on the threshold of qualifying. You're just right at the mark. You are the last person that should play around with not locking in your rate, because if a rate goes up and you were that close to the threshold, you don't want to not lock, and then rates go up and now you're over the threshold. So locking, you know, yes, it can make a difference between qualifying as well as, you know, getting a surprise in the payment that you didn't expect early on.
Right, right. So, guys, that is an important step that you must take, and it's necessary. I know that your lender can explain the fees to you. If you were to reach out to Pauline, she will give you a clear idea of what everything looks like so that you have no surprises. And so, Pauline, if someone were to lock in their rate, maybe you said, 60, 90 days, if they were to do it for maybe what's considered a shorter period of time, can they extend that rate lock?
Yes, and the important thing to do is to find out from your lender what their requirements are.
Okay.
Each lender handles rate extensions differently. Some lenders,
Gotcha.
like you mentioned new construction earlier, if you're locking your rate and you lock in, and of course it takes longer to build the home than, weather permitted, and now you need a little more time, sometimes lenders will absorb the cost to extend the rate. But there is usually a cost once you need to extend your rate beyond a certain period of time.
Okay.
So, and if it's a delay, like if you're not cooperating, you're not getting your loan paperwork in, and you need more time, that's something that, you want to be mindful of, because that could be a cost that you incur as well.
Okay.
So, yes, you can always extend the lot, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Right now, we are going to go to a brief intermission. Stay tuned.
How can you find a reliable source of CBD products? Introducing Holistic Wellness Boutique, a revolutionary collection of CBD tinctures, CBD topicals, CBD edibles, CBD pet products, and other relevant CBD products that help you incorporate CBD into your everyday lifestyle. The best part? Through our special Radiant Transformations program, Dr. Alea Daniel, PharmD, a well-regarded wellness coach, licensed pharmacist, and the mind behind the idea of Holistic Wellness Boutique, will also introduce you to a healthier lifestyle through proper education, nutrition, and a thorough medication evaluation to make the most of our exemplary CBD products. If you are struggling with a chronic condition, we can help you discover how to live a more holistic lifestyle through wellness coaching and the proper selection of hemp-derived CBD products. Visit holisticwellnessboutique.com to schedule a consultation or order an audacious combination of hemp-derived CBD products that will rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit.
Okay, everyone, thank you for staying tuned in. Welcome back. We want to continue our Q&A with Pauline Harris, a mortgage manager, with Movement Mortgage. And so, Pauline, we want to thank you again for your for answering these questions with us today. And so, the next question is, what is mortgage insurance premium for? What is it and what is it for?
Sure. So mortgage insurance actually is what it sounds like. It's an insurance policy that the lender uses to protect them in the event a person defaults on a loan. It is paid for by the borrower for the most part.
Right.
And if you're not putting down 20%, you can pretty much count on having mortgage insurance. There are options to do what's called lender-paid mortgage insurance, where the lender can actually pay it for you, but there's usually a higher interest rate that you incur with that. Mm-hmm. So you just want to ask your lender what mortgage insurance options they have available.
Okay.
And also, if I could interject one more thing about mortgage insurance. Every lender, when you're shopping for a great interest rate, it's important to compare that mortgage insurance premium too, because it's not the same. It's not the same across lenders. So both are actually important because both will impact your monthly payment.
Okay. Well, that's great to know. That's something that maybe a lot of people don't know. So definitely thank you for sharing that tip.
Sure.
And so, Pauline, I know you said you specialize in tough deals. I won't ask you about a tough deal, but let me ask you this. What are some of those programs that Movement Mortgage may have that'll be beneficial to first-time buyers or even someone who may have, I guess, a little less forgiving credit. We do know credit is very important, and we definitely will have shows regarding credit, so you guys make sure that you keep tuning into these episodes because we will have information that will answer questions you have. And so, what are some programs that are good for or available for first-time buyers?
That's a great question. I want to add a little disclaimer. I don't want to make it seem like first-time home buyers are tough deals because there are a lot of home buyers that actually qualified just fine.
Right. There's no correlation between being a tough deal and a first-time buyer, so definitely we don't want to give off that message.
Right. Right. So for first-time home buyers, again, that FHA program that I mentioned earlier, that's ideal because it only requires 3.5% down. And by down, I want to make sure just for people that may not know what that means, that just means that whatever the purchase price is, you're required to put 3.5% of your own money into it. And then conventional has that same option. The 3% down requires you to put down 3% of the sales price. The great thing is that if you don't have 3% or 3.5%, there are down payment assistance programs available, and Movement Mortgage is a participating lender with most of the down payment programs in the state of Georgia, county and state.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And again, we talked about lenders being different. And so every lender has different types of programs, so you definitely want to ask what programs may be suitable for what your needs are. And so do you have any tips for a first-time buyer that you want to share?
Oh.
I know there's a lot.
So many. There are. I'm going to give you two of the most important that I feel first-time home buyers should know, and that is first, work with who you trust. It's important that's important because if you have family members that have purchased a home, I want to say almost a month, 12 months ago or later, their experience is probably not the same, and a lot of their guidance may be a little outdated. So some of the advice that they give that, where they make certain, they may say, hey, you should be able to do, this or that may have been allowed when they bought, but it is constantly changing. Guidelines are forever changing. So work with a lender and a realtor who you trust, because it's just you have to be willing to accept the information that they give you and, be open to advice from family and friends. But ultimately, you want to be able to listen to your lender and your realtor because they're the experts.
Absolutely.
So that's the first piece of advice. And then the second piece of advice I'll say is be careful with the no money down. When you hear that, don't think that means that you don't have to put any money down. I tell every first-time home buyer to always have a budget, at least no less than $2,500 going into the process. You're going to have to pay for earnest money, appraisal fees, inspection fees, and that can be, between $2,000 to about $2,500 depending on the home. It just, at least having that amount going into the process, you have a very good chance of being able to purchase the home.
Wow, Pauline, that is some great information, guys. I think a lot of people have a misconception that they can go into, this process like their family members did, taking advice from friends and family. Sometimes that may not always be the best way for you. That may not be applied to you. And so, again, I believe that working with someone that you trust, who is knowledgeable about the market, who is knowledgeable about these real estate contracts, would definitely be beneficial for you. Things have changed, in this world we live in, as we can all attest to the changes that we're experiencing today. And so real estate has changed as well. In a lot of ways it has definitely changed for the good. I would say for the good. So work with someone you trust. and someone who is knowledgeable. And so I know you gave tips, Pauline. Are there any tools, or does that kind of go, is that kind of one and the same? You know, is there anything that maybe a first-time buyer who, or even a buyer who's not a first-time, you know, they're not sure if they're going to qualify, they're not sure if, you know, they should buy, you know, maybe they want to be a lifelong renter but don't think that they can buy or purchase a home. Are there any tools that can be shared for a buyer in particular?
Sure. The buyers today, I have to give them credit. I mean, especially the younger generations that are entering into the home buyer market, they're a lot more educated than, you know, we were when, you know, I'm telling my age a little bit here, but they're more educated because the internet is a very good resource.
It is.
You can use the internet and search for, you know, mortgage affordability calculators. You can go to websites like bankrate.com to see what the market rate is. There's so many tools online that are available. I will say that you have to be careful because that information is not coming directly from an expert, and so sometimes you may think one thing that you're reading, like, for example, calculators may say a payment might be, you know, $700, but it's not factoring in mortgage insurance, and it's also requiring you put down 20%, and you're a first-time home buyer, and you're not putting that much down, so you know that's not right.
Right.
So really the internet and your realtor, if you have a doctor, if you have a family doctor, if you have a family dentist, you should have a family realtor, and you should have a family lender. So the tool is to get a lender and a realtor for life.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. That is something that, you know, can be a challenge. If you look at some information on the internet and you just go with it thinking that is the gospel and that's the truth, that may not be what it is, and that may not be a scenario that applies to you. And so while every situation may be different, definitely talk with your real estate professional. I am a realtor, and, you know, being a realtor does require us to operate on a different standard, on a higher standard. You know, we're required to attend specialized trainings. We use different forms that are approved by the state of Georgia. And so you want to definitely get someone who is very knowledgeable about the forms and about the process. So that is an awesome tool and an awesome tip. I understand searching the internet is a good basis, but you also want to talk with the person who does this on a daily basis. And so great tool and great tip, Pauline. And so here's our last question for today, guys. I know, like I said, buyers are flooding the scene in this market, which is a great thing. And inventory has been short with resales. So I'm not really sure what that ratio is for per one seller to a buyer, but right now it looks probably like a 10-to-1. And so sometimes when there is less competition, a lot of people will flood to the new construction. You know, some people want a brand new house. They don't want something that, you know, someone else has lived in. They want something that's brand new for them and brand new on that piece of dirt. So tell me, Pauline, as far as getting approved, why does the builder insist on a home buying using their lender? And also, what do you recommend a person do if they want to use their own lender?
That's a very good question, and I've worked in the builder world for quite some time, so I can answer
yes,
that with an
Pauline has a lot of experience in working in new construction, so you definitely want to tune in for this.
Yeah, absolutely. So the builder has a relationship with usually particular lenders, meaning either they are invested in a lender, like they actually own their own mortgage company, or they have a relationship with a lender. It just means that the same way you may have a relationship with your realtor, and they have a relationship with their lender. But their lender has been tried, trusted, and so they feel a lot better when you use their lender. Also, there's an accountability piece. You know, when you have a relationship with a builder, you're more required to perform and get it done, and you want to do well because you want that builder relationship. That's usually your only source of business. So that's, as a lender, that's your requirement, is to really put that borrower, that builder first.
Right.
So they really are insisting on that being done just for the accountability piece. They can hold those lenders more accountable. And if you want to use your own lender, you always can. I want to make sure you know that. You can use your own lender. No one can make you use any particular lender. However, there are certain incentives that they'll offer when you use their lender that you may be either, you would have to either be prepared to forfeit those concessions, and it's usually closing costs, whatever it's, any other concessions they have pertaining to the actual sale of the house is usually not tied to any particular lender, but closing costs are usually something that they'll, require you to use their lender to obtain. So you can, of course, try to negotiate if you can and use your own, but just be prepared to not be able to utilize those concessions as well if you are that, adamant on using your own.
Okay. Well, great information. Thank you so much, Pauline. I want to thank her again for joining us today. And if you have any questions regarding real estate, you can definitely email me at afarleyrealtor@gmail.com if you want us to answer any questions you may have on this show. And if you're thinking about it, wanting to get a mortgage, just wanting to kind of get a feel of what that looks like, Pauline is a great resource. And Pauline, can you please share what your information is and how is the best way to get in contact with you?
Sure. Phone and email are always the best. You can reach me at 404-201-5959 or via email at pauline.harris@movements.com.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you guys again for tuning in to Your Real Estate Tea, where we teach you to become educated so you can achieve. Have a blessed day.
Conceptualizing your ideas across the world and beyond.